Okay, I call to order this meeting of the Soldiers Memorial Commission, City of St. Louis Soldiers Memorial Commission. Today is Thursday, November 17th, 2022. It's 3:02 p.m. and my name is Linnea Magnuson and I chair the commission. We will proceed according to the agenda. And the first thing on the agenda is the roll call of Soldiers Memorial Commissioner. So in alphabetical order, I'll go through those. Commissioner Barget? Not here yet, okay. Commissioner Dunlap? Yes,
Here.
got it. Commissioner Falls? No. Commissioner Fletcher, I know is not going to be here. Commissioner Hansis? I saw her. I know she's here. Judith? I know she's here. Well,
Sorry, I was on mute.
that's okay. I'm here, Linnea Magnuson, and Commissioner Yampolsky, is he here? No. Okay. The next thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. And would you lead us in the pledge, Freddie?
Sure will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I think I just heard someone else come in. Let me just see. I don't think maybe I'm wrong on that. Okay. Before we continue any further with the agenda, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing last month of Commissioner Tom Gilmore on October 11th, and Rich Bradley is going to say a few words.
Hey, thank you, Linnea, and good afternoon, everyone. And so I always had conversations with Tom even after he was unable to attend commission meetings. We talked substantially, as Linnea did as well, because he was still a commissioner on the Soldiers Memorial. The very last time I talked to Tom, it was the first week in October, and Tom said to me, and he looked me in the eyes and he said, "I am ready to take the next step." And I said, "You mean go home?" And he said, "Literally go home." And as a man of his word, that's exactly what he did on October the 11th. So his wife Carolyn asked me to make comments at his funeral on behalf of my friendship with him, but also on behalf of the fact that he was a commissioner for the Soldiers Memorial. And so, if you will, I would just like to take, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I would like to just give you some excerpts of some of the things that I said so that we can all get a real remembrance of Tom and give him some of the respect and appreciation that he certainly deserved. So Tom and I were introduced by a mutual friend over 30 years ago. And for those of you who know me, that's before I became the BPS president here in 2009. And over the years, Tom and I worked very, very closely together, as with most of you, as he was a senior commissioner at the Soldiers Memorial. In our 30-year friendship, Tom would call me weekly, daily, and sometimes hourly about issues at Soldiers Memorial, St. Louis Hills, or the city in general. Tom was very involved and he was a concerned citizen and he clearly knew what needed to be done. He was not a man for excuses, but rather a man who commanded action. He was tough at times, but as you all know, would tear up and show his emotions. I want you to know that Tom is a very proud husband, father, grandfather, and he loved his family very dearly. Tom was also a successful business owner and the founder and owner of Gilmore Electrical Contracting, which he was very proud of. He was an outstanding leader in his community, and in particular, St. Louis Hills, where he gave his talents and treasures to ensure successful events like Art in the Park, the annual block party, and the annual Christmas tree lighting in Francis Park. And I will tell you guys that Christmas tree lighting meant the world to him if you don't know that. Tom felt that the St. Louis neighborhood, Hills neighborhood needed identity, so he funded and built 2 entry monuments. He loved his city and he was an extremely proud resident. Tom's love for his country became at an early age of 17, where he enlisted in the United States Navy at the Soldiers Memorial in 1951 and was sworn in 1952 at the Federal Building, was immediately shipped off to San Diego for basic training. He was attached to the Marine Corps and assigned to the Republic of Korea, the Marine Corps unit, serving in a variety of missions to ensure that the Wonsan Harbor and the coastline was secure. He served on the 43rd parallel in Korea in the winter of 1952 and 1953, which had temperatures of -30 to -40 degrees Fahrenheit during his combat tour. His unit had responsibilities such as removing mines in the harbor, being forward observers for naval gunfire, rescuing soldiers from grounded troop transports, assisting orphanage refugees, and dealing with POWs. He received the Syngman Rhee Korean Presidential Unit Citation, the Combat Medal, the Presidential Unit Citation, the Korean Service Medal with 2 bronze stars, the United Nations Medal, and the National Defense Service Medal, as well as a number of other military citations. After his military service concluded in Korea, he was still required to come home and registered for the draft. He is a life member of the St. Louis chapter of the Korean War Veterans Association and their representative of the Soldiers Memorial Commission. He's a life member of the Disabled American Veterans. And most recently, Tom received a number of recognitions, including a few mayoral proclamations, as well as Board of Aldermen resolutions. I would have to note that his most memorable and touching military recognition most recently was his selection and participation in the Gateway Honor Flight. Tom is a very proud veteran, and I have always considered him to be a patriot. I will miss Tom very dearly, and I'm sure you will as well. And we owe him a great deal of gratitude for all the work that he has done for Soldiers Memorial. Please keep Tom and Carolyn in your thoughts and prayers.
Thank you very much, Rich. I really appreciate that. And Mr. Gilmore, I don't know what to say. I mean, he's been a part of my life now since 2007, and it's a bit of a transition right now, thinking that he's not going to be calling me and that, and I'll miss him dearly myself. So anyway, I guess it's time we can move on then. I'm not sure if we have a quorum. Has any other commissioners joined since we took the roll call? I don't think so. Then we don't have a quorum.
I did.
Oh, then we
This
do
is
have a
Corinne.
quorum. Hello, Corinne.
Yeah, I
We do
was
have a quorum.
having problems getting on.
That's great. We do have a quorum then. So the next thing I'd like to do, if we could approve the, excuse me, not approve, but see what I'm doing here. Whoops. Oh, here we go. So here's the July 21st, 2022 Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting minutes. If you would like to review them for a moment, then we can take a vote.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Judith. Do I have a second?
This is Freddie. I'll second.
Thank you, Freddie. All those in favor of approving the July 21st, 2022 meeting minutes as shown here, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? No. Any abstentions? No. Okay, thank you very much. The motion passes to approve the July 21st, 2022 meeting minutes. And now we have the Thursday, September 15th, 2022 meeting minutes. And I'll give you a minute to read through those. Do I have a motion to approve the September 15th, 2022 Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting minutes as presented here?
So move. This is Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Corinne.
Thank you, Corinne. All those in favor of approving the September 15th, 2022 Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting minutes, please say aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? No. Any abstentions? The motion passes to approve the Thursday, September 15th, 2022 meeting minutes. Thank you very much. Just go back here. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is Mark Sunlove here. If you would like to give us a report on what's been happening at Soldiers Memorial, and I know there's been a lot of things going on.
Yeah, it's been busy. I was going to make a quick comment on that last set of minutes. We referenced the placement of the Skycopter at the Court of Honor. That's the portable camera stations that they have. That worked incredibly well. That we saw a significant reduction in the amount of illicit activity that happens there in front of those two memorials, the Korean and the Vietnam memorials there. And
I'll put that in these minutes. Yeah, go ahead and continue.
yeah, surprisingly, it really has had a lasting effect as well. They removed that camera. I don't know. I think it was like the week before Veterans Day, I think, or maybe 2 weeks before. But even after removing it, it's had a lingering effect on cutting down that type of activity in that area. So, and I think we expanded that relationship a little bit more with the police department, and I think they'll be happy to bring it back if we make that request. So just a follow up on that.
Thank you, Mark. That's really good to hear, actually. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll run through my notes here. In terms of operations, there's not much not very many notable changes in operations. I would announce that Lindsay Davis, who was our visitor engagement coordinator, her last day was Veterans Day, the 11th. She was offered and accepted a job as a curator at the Fieldhouse Museum, which was really her dream shot. She was working for us in the visitor engagement role, planning programs and whatnot, but her heart was really set on becoming a curator someday. So she's a curator of a special collection down at the Fieldhouse Museum now. So we miss her, but it was a great advancement for her. I'm going to skip exhibits and we'll come back to that with Mike in just a minute. But as far as programs, our next upcoming program is a holiday card making. This is designed by Lydia and Lindsay, offering visitors the opportunity to create a holiday card. And we'll be, once those are created, which is a full week, we'll have a station set up where visitors can do that between the 3rd and the 10th of December. And then we'll get those over to the VA hospital and also probably send some off to the USS St. Louis crew who we have a relationship with. But we sent some letters previously to the VA hospital and they were very grateful. They distribute the letters to inpatient folks who are at the hospital. They were using them in kind of like welcome care packages for veterans who were experiencing inpatient time at the hospital. So that's really nice. And then also we, thanks to Judith, we tabled at the MAC Veterans Day Luncheon again, the athletic club downtown, where we were able to distribute a lot of material, a lot of flyers on the Vietnam exhibit, a lot of general information flyers, and just developing, continually developing more relationships with the veteran community and the active military community. So that's a golden opportunity for us that we're always so grateful for. And then one other really significant thing that happened recently, the USS St. Louis crew was back in town. There was 4 members of the crew, including the commander. They visited us. They spent the whole week. I think Barbara Taylor, the ship sponsor, and the commissioning committee really ensures that these crew members get a full dose of St. Louis. They were at Anheuser-Busch. They went to Busch Stadium. They went to the new soccer stadium. They go all over the place, all of these really interesting visits. And of course, we're part of those visits. So that was nice to have the crew here and to speak to some of the young crew members, let them know what we're doing as far as sharing their story, the story of the ships that have carried the city's name, and a little bit about the most recent LKA 116, which is part of the Vietnam exhibit. We're able to show them, connect them to some of that history as well. So that's kind of some of the programs and the events that are taking place, other than, of course, Veterans Day and the Veterans Day parade and ceremony and concert. I thought the parade and the ceremony, I think attendance was up a little bit over last year. Certainly the ceremony, there was a nice audience for the ceremony that stayed throughout that. I think probably the parade, at least in our immediate vicinity, hard to count people all the way down Market Street, but in our immediate area, we probably had 150 to 250 people, I would guesstimate. And then the ceremony, probably somewhere in the ballpark of 170, probably 75 to 100 people that were either in the chairs or in the immediate area for that. And then the concert, we had contracted with the Red and Black Brass Band, who's kind of established themselves as a better known St. Louis band. They really picked up during COVID and were doing neighborhood, I'll call them parades, but it was just the band doing marches down community streets in different neighborhoods and playing for free during the height of the lockdown during COVID, and providing some entertainment in that way. That did not do well as far as attendance, and I think there's some discussion there as far as lessons learned and whatnot, and trying to figure out the best sequence of events and and what kind of has staying power. I thought the band was incredible. The music was solid. It was very, very good. But certainly after the ceremony, the vast majority of the people kind of called it a day and headed out. So attendance at the concert was really thin. We did add this year. The addition this year was Post 422 served hot dog lunch to parade participants, and they distributed about 200 lunches, which was a free hot dog, a bag of chips, and a drink. A lot of the junior ROTC kids were able to partake in that, and that was greatly appreciated. So, and their Post 422 is on board with doing that again next year. We were hoping, and it's hard to measure these things, but we were hoping that lunch would be a way to keep some people around for the ceremony and the concert. And it probably had some success, but really hard to determine why exactly people were stayed without a formal evaluation process. But I think overall the day was, I would say, successful. We were hampered a bit by weather. It was raining early in the morning. The rain tapered off between 8:30 and 9, but there was extremely high wind. It wasn't wasn't a lot of pleasure in the weather, let's say that. But thanks to Judith for helping line up the keynote speaker, Lieutenant General Sullivan. Thanks to Corrine for assisting with the salutes and getting those officers where they need to be and returning salutes to the passing units. So we'll continue to work on that. The online registration is working really well. That's been very well received. We started that last year. That's been effective in getting communications out to participants, and still some lessons to learn, but it's going well. I think Molly and her husband Danny did a heck of a job on the lineup, and I think learned a lot last year. Last year was Molly's first time, so this year I think went smoother, and I think Molly and Danny did some excellent work on that. So it's a lot of moving pieces. I do want to bring back a formal committee this year, so a number of you, you know, will be on that. I hope, I expect, but we'll get that going pretty quickly here, so we can get some of these things need to be done pretty far out. There are some pieces that need to be coordinated fairly early, and so we'll get that moving pretty soon. So, and thanks, of course, to Linnea and Travis, and you know, all of the assist with city services and police and fire and streets and parks and all of that. Tremendously helpful. So,
Mark, I wanted to say that the weather wasn't the greatest, but it was really a nice morning. I really liked it. And I always love, I think my favorite part is the junior ROTC kids, and they did a really great job again. And I just think that for me, they really make the parade. I just love seeing them all there. And I was standing next to some of the parents, and I was, you know, listening to them, and they were just really proud of the fact that their kids were marching and things like that. So that's actually, I think that's my favorite part of the whole parade. I just love it. And so I think it went really well. And I also think that the flags really made a big difference.
oh yeah.
Could have been gray and dark, but those flags made it all pop. And I really liked that as well.
Oh yeah, thanks, Linnea. I'd forgotten a little bit about the flags, but yeah, that was another addition this year, the flags on the bollards and on the staircase. So, and thankfully that worked. We did a little trial earlier in the week, but we didn't have the winds that we had that morning, so we were a little nervous about it.
Yeah, but the flags were unfurled. It was just beautiful. You know, they were open.
Right.
That always happen.
Mark, it's Judith. To say again, when all the commissioners and the others who support our work are with us, thank you again for showing Soldiers Memorial and what the memorial does to keep the recognition of veterans going. The exhibits, the banner exhibits that we have through October and November in the downtown lobby and at the west lobby. And we've gotten tons of compliments. I had an occasion earlier this week to have a group of ladies in for a luncheon, and I took them around a little bit, and they were just in awe of that Vietnam exhibit and said they plan to go visit. So, but both of them, the one at West focusing on mental health has also received a lot of compliments.
Oh, thank you, Judith. That's great to hear.
And we have a lot of groups besides just MAC members who come. For instance, Thursdays is the St. Louis Rotary Club meeting every Thursday. And so those guys have been very complimentary also.
Excellent. That's great to hear. And one addition to that, Lydia has been working to develop contacts with schools and libraries. And so once the banner shows have done their time at the MAC, we're trying to get those out to some schools and libraries and other places where they can be displayed, continue to help promote and raise awareness. So
great.
Thank you. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to turn it over to Mike. Mike has been working the last 3 years now on developing Vietnam at War and at Home, which just opened on Veterans Day, the 11th. So I'm going to let Mike take the floor here, give you a rundown of some of the information about the events, the premier events, and how things have been going since opening. Mike.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you all to the commission for allowing us to give you a little bit of an update. As Mark said, This exhibition, Vietnam at War and at Home, has been 3 years in the making, beginning with a lot of research and evaluation of both the Soldiers Memorial Collection as well as items from the MHS collection. And with a really incredible, talented teammates from across the institution and other folks in the community, we put together an exhibition I think that we can all be very, very proud of. As Mark said, we opened formally to the public on Veterans Day, but we did have 2 events prior to that. One was a premiere event, kind of a VIP type thing that I think normally would have had a larger number of city officials and elected officials across the region in attendance if it had not taken place on election night. But we had over 170 some individuals attend that evening, including many representatives from the exhibition sponsors, local corporations around the community, as well as board members, committee members, commission members, and a tremendous number of people associated with the content in the exhibit. So these were donors of artifacts, loaners of artifacts, people who had participated in oral histories, and it was just a really wonderful evening to open it up and kind of get a first reaction from folks. We followed that the next night with a member and staff preview, and that also went quite well. We had, I think, over 140 people for that one. And again, a really positive reception from those in attendance, and a lot of folks, kind of crowding into the galleries and recognizing they can't sort of see and experience everything with those large numbers. And so a lot of commitments for folks to come back and return to the exhibit, which some of those have already been doing. So it was great. Over the opening weekend, I think we just got some numbers a couple days ago. We had over 250 people on Veterans Day, which turned out to be a wonderful day to open the exhibit. It was a diverse group of individuals in terms of ages and race and gender. A lot of families, a lot of kids were out of school, and they were able to bring children and grandchildren, which was really neat to see. And then over Saturday and Sunday, another 250 some people. So over 500 people came in the first 3 days, plus the more than 300 at the opening. So it's been really a great turnout. I will say that both individually, people have reached out to me and Mark and other members of our staff. We've received a large number of emails, some letters already written to us from different folks that have seen it. And it's been a really great response. If I can, I'd like to read one that we received just yesterday from, or 2 days ago, from Clavon Wesley, who's one of the gentlemen featured in the Oral History Interactives. Clavon served in the Air Force as a medic in Vietnam. And part of his letter reads, "The story you have told will give pause to all those who come and view this exhibition. You have given the soldiers of that war a story. You have given them a voice. You have made them visible, and have given each of us a legacy that will be forever etched in the hearts and minds of St. Louis, Missouri, and our nation." So some pretty powerful words. I know Mark had a conversation with Clavon too that was quite meaningful. So it really makes all the work that the team has put in over these years worthwhile when we get that sort of response from our visitors, and especially from our veterans. So I can also highlight just real briefly the tremendous work that our public relations, our marketing and communication team has done. So many things are already out there and in the works, from articles in the Post-Dispatch, St. Louis Magazine, Gazelle Magazine. I'm doing a tour and interview tomorrow for the Riverfront Times. Did an interview on KMOX. We've been on Channel 5 KSDK, Fox 2 News the other day, 9 PBS, articles in around Veterans Day for Ladue News, the Jewish Light, and there's so many other things in the works. So the word is out, and we expect to see really wonderful attendance at the exhibit over the next 18 months that it'll be up. And I'm happy to take any questions from any of you about the exhibit, and I encourage you all to come and see it, not just once, but as often as you can.
Thanks, Mike. We're also seeing a nice response. I would just add at group tours. We had our first adult group tour yesterday, and our first chance for the volunteer docents to give the tour of the galleries. And we had a school group in this morning. Ursuline Academy was here. So it's nice. It's fun when the building's buzzing with people in the galleries and visiting. So it's been really nice.
I'm leading a member tour at 6 o'clock tonight. It's not too late to come for that one. There's another one in the daytime on December 1st as well.
All right, I will cede the floor, Linnea, unless there's any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Mike or Mark?
No, just congratulations. It's unbelievable exhibition.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
I have something else on a different subject.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
I was going to ask if Rich would mind sending out to all of us your full remarks from the funeral for Tom Gilmore. They were especially beautifully done. You made a really strong impact on, I think, everyone who was there.
That's absolutely true. I think I've never heard one that was better. It was really something. Is Rich still there?
Absolutely. I'll be glad. Linnea, I'll send them to you, and you can certainly forward them to everyone on the commission. That's fine. And Judith, as I know you were there, and I thank you for the kind words. That was probably one of the hardest things for me to do, beyond doing something like that for my mother or my father. Tom and I were very close, and that hit me very, very hard. So it was a tough thing.
He was one tough guy in terms of his constitution and his fighting the disease. But he was one generous guy when it came to those around him. And he was the one who worked to get me as a member of the commission. I was one of his clients. I'd live in St. Louis Hills, and I forget now who introduced me to him, but I couldn't, never have had someone better when it came to what he did for a job. And he also was exceptionally generous with all he did for the neighborhood association.
I know, Rich, at one point you said that he was a man's man. And I guess he just told things the way they were, and he followed up with you, and it was part of that sort of tenaciousness that actually got a lot of the things happening that have happened with the renovation and all the things that are in place now. And I agree completely with what Rich and Judith have said. So it's a real loss for me as well. Anything else? Anybody has anything else? Well, I guess then I can call for questions, new business, or announcements. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add? Okay, seeing no questions, new business or announcements, I make a motion, not make a motion. I call for a motion to adjourn the November 17th, 2022 Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting. Do I have someone who will? make a motion, to adjourn?
So moved. This is Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Judith. The Thursday, November 17th, 2022, City of St. Louis Soldiers Memorial Commission meeting is now adjourned. It is 3:37 p.m. and thank you so much for everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.